Erica Murray is charged with murder after investigators uncovered the remains of 3 babies at her home several years ago.
Erica Murray was charged with the murder of her own children, a tragedy that left the community shattered. The grief of losing her children and the circumstances surrounding the act remains a haunting reminder of the depths of despair that can lead someone to make such a heart-wrenching choice. The house is in disarray, with ants crawling across the walls and maggots slowly creeping along the edges.
The odors were sickening. I looked around that room. There was a lot of feces on the walls.
A place that was not like a home.
Inside, they found bugs, rats, feces, and the skeletal remains of 2 babies and a fetus. 4 living children were also residing in the home, and they were taken into custody by DCF. Investigators say Murray and her boyfriend were the parents of all 7 children, dead and alive. Workers in hazmat suits spent days cleaning out the house.
As we walk through, the weight of the horror is unbearable. Let's find the truth buried in the silence. Erica Murray was born in Northbridge, Massachusetts, to Kevin and Sharon, a loving, middle-class couple who made sure she was always cared for. As a child, she was full of life, always smiling and full of joy. Summers were her favorite time. She would run around the yard with her 2 older brothers, playing baseball or cool off in the neighbor's pool. Her parents would take them to the beach when the heat became unbearable, and evenings were spent sharing laughter and stories over backyard with barbecues. It was a simple, happy life. As Erica entered her teenage years, she became more conscious of her appearance, always making sure her hair was styled and her nails were perfectly manicured. But these small luxuries came with a cost. To afford them, Erica started working at the local McDonald's, putting in hours after school to earn a little extra money for herself. It wasn't just about the money, it was about gaining a sense of independence, carving out her own space in the world, even if it was just in the way she took care of herself. At McDonald's, Erica met Raymond Rivera, a man 7 years her senior. Though their age difference should have been a red flag, something about Raymond drew Erica in almost immediately. In the beginning, he was charming, sweet, and attentive. But over time, a shift occurred. The man she once knew slowly transformed into someone more controlling, stern, and possessive. He didn't like when she socialized or spent time with others, gradually isolating her from the world she once knew. When Erica turned 18, she found herself facing an overwhelming situation. She was pregnant. Fear consumed her. She was about to graduate high school, uncertain and unprepared for motherhood. Though she tried to hide the pregnancy, by the time graduation day came, her growing belly made it impossible to keep the secret. She knew attending the ceremony would make everything obvious, and she considered skipping it entirely. But a close friend convinced her to walk across that stage and receive her diploma, despite everything that was happening in her life. After Erica graduated, she gave birth to a baby girl named Kayla. Her parents, though concerned, were supportive, offering Erica a safety net as she navigated this new chapter of her life. Erica, Raymond. And Kayla lived with Erica's parents in Northbridge, Massachusetts, where they provided a steady source of love and guidance. A few years later, Erica found herself pregnant again, and with their family growing, they could no longer stay with her parents. So, they moved into Raymond's sister Christina's home at 23 St. Paul Street in Blackstone, hoping a new space would bring them a fresh start. Soon enough, Christina moved out, leaving the young family to fend for themselves. At just 21 years old, Erica gave birth to her second child, a son she named Nick. Normally, the arrival of a new baby would be a time of celebration, but for Erica, it was anything but joyful. Without the support of her parents, she felt isolated and overwhelmed. The weight of responsibility was crushing, and the strain on her relationship with Raymond only added to the pressure. Erica could feel herself slowly starting to unravel, the cracks beginning to show in her carefully constructed life. The bottom really fell out when she moved to 23 St. Paul Street. As time went on, Erica began to let herself go, her once vibrant spirit slowly fading. She would often appear in public with disheveled hair and looking generally unkempt. Her style, once full of life and attention to detail, shifted. She traded in her well-fitted clothes for oversized, baggy ones that hid her body. To the outside world, it seemed like she had stopped caring about her appearance. But those clothes weren't just a fashion choice. They were a shield, concealing the emotional weight she was carrying. What no one saw was the pain hiding beneath the surface, the toll of sleepless nights, the emotional strain, and the growing sense of isolation. Erica never got her driving license, which meant she was always dependent on Raymond to take her wherever she needed to go, whenever he had the time. But as the years passed, even that became a rare occurrence. Erica withdrew more and more from the world, becoming a shell of the person she once was. She became a shut-in, rarely leaving the house except for special occasions, each outing feeling like an insurmountable task. The walls around her life grew higher, and with every passing day, the space between her and the world outside seemed to stretch further. As time passed, Erica stopped leaving the house altogether, only venturing out for the occasional trip to the grocery store. Her family made attempts to visit, but Erica always had an excuse. Her house wasn't ready to receive visitors. Eventually, they stopped trying, assuming she was embarrassed by the state of her home. But the truth was, there was a far darker reason behind her isolation. Erica had just discovered she was pregnant again. For most parents, a third child would be a blessing, a sign of a growing family. But for Erica, it felt like a curse. The main reason was simple. Raymond didn't want any more children, and Erica had no control over her life, her finances, or her body. She was entirely dependent on Raymond, who only gave her enough money for groceries, leaving her with nothing for herself. When Erica found out she was pregnant again, fear overtook her. She couldn't bear the thought of telling Raymond. He had already made it clear he didn't want more children, and Erica knew what that might mean for her. She was terrified, isolated, and alone, trapped in a life she couldn't escape. She had no one to turn, no one to confide in. But there was one thing she knew for sure. Raymond would never find out. Erica made the decision to hide her pregnancy from everyone, and her baggy clothes made it easier to keep the secret. With each day, she carefully concealed her growing belly, going about her life as though nothing had changed. She appeared the same to the outside world, disheveled and withdrawn. But no one suspected the truth hidden beneath those oversized clothes. Her fear and anxiety built with every passing day, but Erica kept the facade up, determined that no one would know. It was the only way she could maintain some control in a life where everything else felt out of her hands. After 9 long months, Erica faced another problem. She was in labor, and there was no one to help her. She knew that if she went to the hospital, Raymond would find out, and she couldn't bear the thought of the emotional trauma that would follow. So, in the middle of the night, while everyone was asleep, Erica clenched her teeth through the immense pain and delivered her baby girl on the cold bathroom floor. As the baby came out, a wave of relief washed over her. She no longer had to hide her pregnancy. But her problems didn't end there. Now, she had to figure out how to hide a baby. A pregnancy was easier to conceal. It didn't cry all the time or need constant care. Erica was terrified. She had no idea how to care for this baby. She felt nothing but a cold disconnect. This baby was just another mouth she couldn't afford to feed. She never even bothered to name her. So, when Erica returned to the bathroom a week later, she found the baby lifeless. And though part of her felt numb, there was also a deep sense of relief. Erica wrapped the baby in a blanket and placed her carefully in the closet of one of her children's rooms. Although a sense of relief washed over her, knowing she no longer had to worry about the baby, a deeper, unspoken fear lingered. She had managed to conceal the truth, but soon, Erica would discover that the weight of her actions wasn't over. A few years after silently giving birth to her third child on the bathroom floor, Erica found herself pregnant again. And once again, she hid the pregnancy from everyone, even from her husband, Raymond. Soon enough, it was time for Erica to deliver. And just like the last time, she bit back the overwhelming pain and quietly gave birth to the baby on her bathroom floor, while the rest of the house slept. But the fourth baby never took a breath. Erica, once again, felt a strange sense of relief. She placed the baby in a carton and tucked it away in the upstairs bedroom. If Raymond ever caught a whiff of something putrid coming from that room, he never mentioned it. Erica carried on with her life, showering love on her 2 older children, acting as if nothing had happened. But the cycle repeated itself. Erica became pregnant again, and once more, the baby didn't survive. She hid the tiny body in yet another carton, this time in the closet of her second child's room. To the outside world, Erica was the perfect mother, the loving, attentive parent to her 2 older kids. Yet, she carried the secret of her 3 lost children tightly in her chest, locked away from everyone, a burden she bore alone. No one knew the truth until Erica found herself pregnant once again. This time, the baby girl survived. But just like before, Erica faced a multitude of problems. She couldn't afford to care for her 6th child, and she couldn't risk Raymond finding out. So, Erica made the decision to hide the baby in the same upstairs bedroom where she had once concealed the body of her 4th child. She would visit occasionally to feed and change the baby, but her visits grew fewer and farther between. When Raymond asked why there was a crying baby in the house, Erica lied, telling him the baby belonged to her Facebook friend, Michelle. To make the lie more believable, Erica even created a fake Facebook profile for Michelle. As the baby girl grew older, Erica's neglect deepened. She left her in soiled diapers for weeks, never bothering to bathe or clean her. The baby was confined to the bedroom, spending most of her days lying on a mattress. Because Erica hardly cared for her, the mattress became stained with dirt and rotten food, a silent testament to the cruel neglect. Though the baby spent most of her time alone, a new housemate was about to arrive. 3 years after giving birth to her daughter, Erica had another baby girl, bringing her total number of children to 7. But to Raymond and the rest of the family, Erica only had 2. She kept the newborn in a second bedroom upstairs, treating her much like her 6th child, with cold indifference and neglect. Erica barely bothered to change her, and often left crushed food for both girls to eat, days on end. To the outside world, Erica appeared to be a devoted mother who lovingly cared for her 2 children. This image was carefully crafted through an online persona that bore no resemblance to the reality she lived. On Facebook, she often shared posts about taking her kids out for delicious lunches, preparing homemade dinners, and going on school supply runs. She even posted pictures of Nick and Kayla celebrating their birthdays with cake and pizza. Erica never spoke a word about the 2 children locked away in the upstairs bedrooms. To everyone else, they simply didn't exist. To Erica, it was as though they never had. Erica continued to maintain separate worlds for her 4 children, never once revealing the existence of the last 2. As her older children grew and began asking questions, she fed them the same lies she told Raymond. Erica spent time with Nick and Kayla, waiting for them at the bus stop after school. It was there that she met her neighbor, Betsy Brown. Betsy had a son around Nick's age, and the 2 children began playing together. Nick often went over to Betsy's house, but Betsy was never invited into Erica's home. The closest she ever got to it was the front porch, which always carried the unmistakable smell of dog poop. Betsy assumed it was from the bloodhounds she frequently heard barking in the yard. On August 24, 2014, Erica asked Betsy to watch little Nick while she went out of town. Betsy agreed, and Nick came over to play with her son. As the day wore on, Betsy realized she needed to pick up a few things from the store, so she left her son and Nick outside, riding skateboards. Just before Betsy arrived at the store, she received a call that would turn her world upside down. It was her son, frantic on the phone, saying he didn't know how to get the baby to stop crying. Betsy was confused. There were no babies in the house that she knew of. She rushed back home, her heart racing, and found her son and Nick growing increasingly frantic in front of the Murray home. But as she pulled into the driveway, she could hear the desperate screams of a baby. The screams were coming from inside the house. Betsy's heart dropped as she got out of her car, her legs unsteady as she hurried to the front door. What she saw when she opened the door to the upstairs bedroom left her horrified. There, lying on a mattress soaked with urine and feces, was a 3-year-old girl. In the next room, in a similarly horrific condition, was a 5-month-old baby. Beside them were piles of dirty diapers, trash, and rotting food. Betsy's stomach turned as she took in the appalling sight. Without hesitation, she dialed 911, her hands shaking as she made the call. When the police arrived at the house, the filth was so overwhelming that they could barely stay inside for more than a few minutes before being swarmed by bugs and rodents. They quickly brought the 2 girls out of the house and rushed them to the hospital. The doctors who examined them were horrified by their condition. Despite their severe malnutrition and neglect, the girls showed no signs of infection. The medical staff ran several tests, struggling to comprehend how they could have survived in such appalling circumstances. Because no one knew anything about the girls, the police were forced to obtain a warrant to search for their birth certificates. What they uncovered, however, was a scene so shocking that even no one couldn't have imagined it. It was a house of horrors. The upstairs bedrooms were beyond filthy, with trash scattered everywhere, piles of dirty clothes and diapers stacked high in some corners, and feces smeared across the floor and walls. In the room where they had found the 5-month-old baby, the police also discovered a lifeless dog, its body covered in fleas and maggots. The downstairs was no better. Dirty dishes filled the kitchen sink, and an overpowering stench clung to the air. Maggots and flies were everywhere, crawling in every corner of the house. But the most horrific discovery came when the police searched the children's closets. The police discovered 3 skeletal babies, one still with the umbilical cord attached, and the other 2 dressed in onesies and diapers. In the basement, they found a severely malnourished bloodhound. While they searched the house, Erica returned with little Kayla. She was immediately arrested and taken to the police station for questioning, while Nick and Kayla were placed into foster care. Under interrogation, Erica confessed to having been pregnant 5 more times, hiding the bodies of the babies who didn't survive in the closets. She also admitted to lying to Raymond and her older children about the origins of the girls. Erica was charged with second-degree homicide for the deaths of the 2 clothed children, along with 2 counts of assault and battery and 2 counts of reckless endangerment. She was also charged with 2 counts of cruelty to animals and 1 count of concealing a fetal death. While she was not found guilty of second-degree murder, she was convicted on all other charges and sentenced to 6 to 8 years in prison, with credit for 5 years served during her imprisonment. Raymond was also indicted on 7 charges and sentenced to 4.5 years and 1 day in prison, with credit for time served since December 2014. Erica's state reflects deep psychological and emotional turmoil, rooted in her inability to confront the reality of her actions. Her choices seem to stem from a mix of fear, denial, and a desperate attempt to maintain a facade of normalcy, even at the expense of her own children. Her case underscores the importance of mental health support, accountability, and the need for intervention before such tragic outcomes can unfold. It serves as a reminder that in order to truly care for others, we must first face our own pain and vulnerabilities. What would think about the case?